All right, class, I believe the last slide that we were on or discussed, excuse me, very briefly, was gate control theory. And what gate control theory is the ability basically for our spinal cord to either block pain or allow the pain to pass through. But it's all controlled by the neurological gate in our brain. I'm not going to worry about you all being familiar with the biopsychosocial approach to pain because they're pretty much going to have a biopsychosocial approach to every area we talk about or discuss in the throughout the course of this semester. So it's breaking down the biological influence, our bodies, our brains, how the brain, spinal cord, how that works, psychological, our psyche, our mental. So here, as you can see, attention to pain. And let me make that a little bit larger. Let's see if I can make that a little bit larger. There we go. Attention to pain, and then the social cultural influence is social support, environment, if we're feeling that we're getting empathy from others. All right, sensory receptors to pain. This is just FYI, but it's showing you how all of this works, how it's all intertwined. Because sensory receptors, our senses, you see, we step on a tack, that then sends a message, the pain impulse, and then it crosses the spinal cord and the brain, and then it's labeled in the brain as pain. Then it goes back to the body, and how our reflex will allow us to jerk our foot off of that once pain has been labeled in the brain. So it, again, is diving a little bit further to show you how all of this is interconnected with kind of chapter 2 and how it also works with this chapter, chapter 6. 2, we're talking about the brain. 6, we're talking about sensation and perception. So it's all interconnected. So this is why I do those chapters one after the other. Okay? Let's see here. All right, controlling pain. Hypnosis is one way. Distraction is another. Distraction is just like what you think of as no new term. But if you're in pain about something, you may hear a person say, don't think about the pain. Think about something else. Think about something that's happy, that's going to make you feel elated. Think about something that you may have to do, because what you're doing is taking your consciousness off of focusing on that pain and using your conscious awareness to focus on something totally different. And then, of course, you have hypnosis, where you've been hypnotized. Those are all ways to control pain. Other senses that I want you to be familiar with that you will definitely see on your exam should be on page 225 in your textbook. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Most of these, the first 4, we're pretty much familiar with. The umami is like, what is that and what is that taste? Well, you'll see umami. That is the category of like peas, certain peas, nuts, certain nuts, also like chicken, and mushroom. Now, when I go back to chicken, some of you may say, well, hey, chicken fits into one of these other taste categories. That's after we've manipulated the chicken to a certain extent. So what I mean by the manipulation is we've seasoned it, we've drenched it in something. But if you take flat out straight chicken, cook it without any manipulation, it has a very different taste that does not fall into the category of sweet, salty, sour, or bitter. It falls into a category where it almost tastes kind of robust, and then it's a different kind of flavor altogether. But it definitely doesn't fit into any of these categories. So again, umami is your peas, nuts, mushrooms, chicken, not manipulated. Okay, so be familiar with those. The taste, this could be a possible bonus. All right, the tongue has or contains more than 200 taste buds. The buds contain a pore of 50 to 100 taste receptors. So possible bonus question. All right, here on this slide, and let's see, is it in the next slide as well? Yes. All right, so kind of going back and forth. this is telling you here, let's see there, how our olfactory, which is focusing on our smell, that's what olfactory receptors do, is right there in our nose. Okay, so as you can see here, the olfactory bulb is located in our nose. Also, it is near the area in the brain that is responsible for memory association. So this is why you may smell something and it brings a memory back. It's showing you here how the olfactory nerve and olfactory bulbs work. But I believe, nope, the next slide doesn't do it. But as a memory association because of the area of where it's located. So if I were to ask you, I think the discussion board question may be when we go to memory or discussing memory, what smell makes you think of or have a memory that's unforgettable? It could be the cologne of a boyfriend that you didn't like or liked, and when you smell that cologne or perfume, it brings back memories, good, bad, or indifferent. Or mothballs may make you think of your grandmother, something of that nature. But that's why when we smell something, it can make a memory very vivid for us because of the association areas of where it's located in the brain. All right, and coming up to the very last slide of need to know, we have the body positions, the other senses, kinesthesia, and vestibular sense. Kinesthesia is on page 238, and this is used for us sensing our position and movements of the body. Okay, so this is us knowing that our hands or fingers are moving without necessarily having to see them. I know it says interacts with vision, and it does interact with our vision, but it also interacts with our ability to move those parts and know where those parts are located. All right, and then same thing with kinesiology. That's the root word for it. They focus on body movement, okay? And vestibular sense of body movement and position, including the sense of balance. This association area is related to or closely associated with the area of where the cerebellum is located. Also interacts with our ears. So in class, I think I told you all about vertigo. Vertigo, if you ever experience vertigo, which makes you feel very much imbalanced, you would have to see an ENT doctor. And most people are like, why in the world would I have to see an ENT doctor? Well, it's because of the area where it's located. It's located near your ear. And so that's why you would have to see an ENT doctor. Also, where your ear is located, that is near the area that's associated with body position and body movement. And so our cerebellum is affected through vertigo or drinking alcohol. This is why we can't keep our balance. All right, the next slides are just talking about ESP. Can't remember 100% if I'm asking you all about ESP. Just go back and look at your study guide. If your study guide asks you or notes about ESP, then go back and take a look at that. But I don't think I'm asking you about it. And that's the end of the slideshow.